Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Tuesday, July the 16th. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. I want to continue the conversation from yesterday. Yesterday, I started this whole conversation about positive versus negative Canucks fans. And originally, I was going to loop media in that same vlog, but I realized it would have taken too long, and I already went for 14 minutes just talking about Canucks fans alone. So today, I'll focus on the media aspect, and in particular, does the Vancouver Canucks media, the Vancouver media, do they contribute to this whole notion of this being a negative fan base? And I want to thank you for the feedback from yesterday's video. Got a lot of good feedback from the video I posted last night, and I'll get to replying to some of those comments in due time. So let's talk about the media. We know that generally when it comes to, we can look at radio first, and there's obviously Sportsnet 650, who are the rights holder for the Vancouver Canucks, and then TSN 1040. And I'm thinking for another vlog, it'd be kind of cool to actually break down which shows I listen to and which of the broadcasters, which of the hosts I like more, and things like that. But I'll save that for another one. But for today, I just want to talk about their influence on the fan base. Now, the Sportsnet 650, they are the rights holders for the Vancouver Canucks. They're basically finishing off their second year. They came in existence in September 2017, and right away they came with a splash in that they secured a 5-year contract to broadcast Vancouver Canucks games exclusively. So obviously this was a big coup right off the bat, because TSN 1040 had as the only sports channel in Vancouver, having the long-time holder of the Canucks rights. So already that was Sportsnet 650 making a splash. Of course, they tied it in with their TV deal with Rogers Sportsnet and all that kind of thing. So yeah, that was a good way to come on the market for Sportsnet 650. And obviously they wanted the team to do better. You do better, there's going to be a more positive vibe. I think it's going to be better for advertisers, all those kind of things, right, in the big picture. But as fans, even as I alluded to yesterday, we wanted the Canucks to win. So Sportsnet 650, when it comes to Canucks stuff, has had a rough go from a standpoint of, the team hasn't done as well as we as fans, as we all expected. Then on the other hand, you have TSN 1040, who kind of lost, their prized possession, so to speak. And, they say the BC Lions and other shows and other teams, but in essence, obviously this is a Vancouver Canucks town. As much as we want the Lions to do well, as much as we want the Whitecaps to do well, neither team is doing well right now, but we know that this is a Vancouver Canucks town. But what it's led to is some interesting, speculation by fans. Is a lot of them who have made the switch to Sportsnet 650, and a spoiler alert for my vlog, maybe later this week, I'm going to talk about how I listen to both shows, and I like many of the hosts from both shows, and I don't think it's wrong to be a fan of both shows, and both stations, I should say, and I listen to both stations, but that's for another vlog later. So I think a lot of people who jumped to Sportsnet 650, either because of some personalities or because of the Canucks coverage or whatever, they think that TSN 1040 is bitter, is upset, and are acting kind of spoiled, and like spoiled brats, the fact that they lost the rights for the Canucks, and therefore they take it out on the team, and they name guys, especially like Matt Sakaris, who is very connected to the team, but they think that they are quite negative towards the team. I don't buy that necessarily. Obviously, if you had a choice, you'd want the Canucks rights as opposed to not wanting the rights. But ultimately, they're professional. I believe that TSN 1040 still has a small market share over Sportsnet 650. So it's not like they have to resort to being petulant or being pouting or whatever. And they did, very creative, strategic things to go against Sportsnet 650 when Canucks games were on. For instance, I remember they brought in guys like Chris Higgins and Blake Price in the evening and Jeff Patterson especially, to basically talk about the game while the game was going on. So yeah, sure, it wasn't a live play-by-play broadcast, an official one, but they had the game on the TV or on a monitor, and they could talk about things that were happening real time. They would also do pregame, intermission, post-game. They'd try and go commercial free, whatever it is. They would do whatever they could to bite into Sportsnet 650's audience, and that makes sense. You're competitive. You're the only two sports stations in Vancouver full time, and then you want to try and obtain any competitive advantage you can get, especially if you don't have the Canucks games full blast sort of thing. So TSN 1040 was doing creative things, and I'm sure given their strong lineup, they were able to attract some listeners away. But this whole notion of TSN 1040 being overly negative, I don't buy it. I don't think it's their philosophy. I certainly think they have the freedom to be more negative, right? They are certainly more negative when it comes to the Canucks because of they aren't the rights holders, so they can get away with that. Obviously, Sportsnet 650, they couldn't trash on the team. Some people call them more unaffectionately as house radio, but they are indeed the rights holders. So I think they have to be careful, because you could easily see or imagine Jim Benning or someone from the Canucks management say, hey, I don't like what you said, or maybe spin it this way, or whatever they might say. And we heard stories about that when Mike Gillis was running the team, that he would often call TSN 1040 and go after Pratt or Don Taylor or whoever was there at the time to talk about their coverage of the Canucks. And we've heard stories about that as well. What I think it comes down to when I really think about it is something that happens in human life, in life in general, in society in general. It is much easier, it's more fun, and you get more traction if you are negative, if you are sarcastic, right? That's why gossip is so popular. That's why poking fun and being sarcastic with people it's easy, and it gets a reaction. And if you're a radio station and you're trying to elicit reaction, you're trying to gain ratings, you're trying to get people talking about you, especially with a bad team, it is easier to harp on the negatives, a bad move that the Canucks did, a bad play or bad decision, in locker room politics, whatever it may be. That is juicier. Let's admit that. That makes for more entertaining talk radio. Remember, these aren't vlogs. These aren't podcasts, whatever. These are live radio stations. And how do you engage? How do you get people more engaged? Well, you talk about things that are juicy. You talk about things that are controversial. And oftentimes, just wait for this truck to pass by. Oh, the beauty of recording in your car. That's why, it's sometimes, and I talk about this when I talk to teens about communication skills, that often it's easier to come up with a sarcastic remark or even an insult or something that's almost close to gossip, because it elicits reaction. It gets people talking. And I think that's the issue here. Not because it's TSN 1040. If the shoe was on the other foot and TSN 1040 still had the Canucks rights and Sportsnet 650 was looking at ways to continue to get attention or retain listeners, I think perhaps some of those guys, not all, some people would do the same thing, because it's human nature, right? And I think that's what we get down to. It's not the fact that TSN doesn't have the Vancouver Canucks rights. It's because everyone is looking to gain reaction, gain traction, elicit reaction, and you do that by being a little bit more sarcastic, a little bit more critical, because then it gets people talking, because it gets both sides talking. It gets people, a lot of Canucks fans will agree with them because they are frustrated with the direction of the team, whether they're negative fans or not. They'd agree, so that they would get those people on board right away. And then the opposite, you'd have the positive fans, such as myself, who might not agree, but then they're going to call in, they're going to tweet in, they're going to write in, text in, and they're going to state their disagreement. So I think what TSN 1040 is doing is wise, is smart, and I can see the method behind their madness. And I don't think it's a company mantra. I don't think people are saying, no, they have to, like, we're going to be known as the negative group or whatever like that. But I do think it's because, as I watch this guy try and parallel park behind me, I do think because they are always looking at ways to attract good listenership, and I think that's one way to do it. So, bottom line, do I think TSN 1040 is too negative? No, of course not. I think they're smart guys. I respect almost all of them in there, and I think they're doing a good job. But they're basically looking at ways to get retain their audience and to elicit reaction from the listeners, which is really what Sportsnet, sports talk radio, should be about. I realized that I just went for 9 minutes on the radio, so I'm going to save newspapers and TV coverage for another time. This turned out to be basically a look at TSN 1040's coverage of the Vancouver Canucks. And do I think it's overly negative? No. Bottom line is I don't. And that's not because I know guys there or friends with some of the guys. Not best friends, but I know some of the guys there. No, I don't think it's negative. I think they're doing smart radio. They're smart enough guys where they know what they're doing, and they're trying to, get listenership and get interaction from their listeners, which they should do. All right, Canucks fans, tell me what you think. You can also talk about, if you listen to both stations, TSN 1040 and Sportsnet 650. Another vlog later this week, likely, I will get into the different hosts, the different shows, what I like about them, what I don't like about them. Today, I just want to continue this conversation about positive versus negative. Yesterday was Canucks fans, today was Canucks media, and we know that Sportsnet 650, as, quote, the house radio station, is going to be more positive naturally. So today I did want to focus on TSN 1040. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. I love to read, react, and reply. Just leave a comment below and tell me what you think. Do you listen to both stations? Do you think TSN 1040 is overly negative, or are you fine with how they broadcast and how they portray themselves and how they how they, talk about the Vancouver Canucks. I know a lot of you talked to me on Twitter about it, and it seems split. Some people really like them. Some people think they are too negative. But I love for you here on YouTube to leave a comment below and tell me what you think. I'll read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. God bless, and go Canucks go.